Hello, everybody. This is Faris.
And this is Caleb Flournoy, and welcome to another episode of Conversations with the Homecare Guyz. Well, I want to say this before we get started in our conversation. We have a great conversation, right, Faris?
Right, man.
So we're talking about 6 ways to empower people around you. But before that, Faris, how is your week? What's going on, brother?
Man. This has been an incredible week. I'm super excited about getting back in the swing of things. I know you all probably like, dang, this was always out the swing of things. But coming off of an amazing weekend, just in the month of February, Kayla, I'm excited about having the opportunity to go through and just reflect and celebrate Black History Month, man.
Yes.
A lot of heritage, a lot of proud moments, a lot of things that has been, a lot of adversity has been triumphed as well. So, man, I'm excited. And I got a little fun fact, but that's just mine. But I'm going to come back to that. But how's your week coming along, man?
My week is coming along amazing. Yeah, we are in the month of Black History Month as well as Valentine's.
Yeah.
And, Heart Awareness Month. So, yeah, but I definitely want to dive in some of the facts that you have for Black History, man, because, as an African-American, there are so many inventions that we have created here in America. Mm-hmm. And so, and I remember growing up as a child, especially learning about those inventors in elementary school and middle school. And I'm like, where would the world be, Faris, without, African-Americans?
Wow, man. I'm still amazed, and I'm so thankful, and I'm going to always shout it from the rooftop. Those educators down at Emmy Lewis Elementary School in Sparta, Georgia.
Come on, put Sparta on the map.
Who actually, Caleb, now, as you know, they were the bedrock. They really set the foundation. It was the Miss Mary Wilsons, the Miss Yvonne Zingham, the Miss Grace Henderson,
Miss Evans.
And of course our mom, Miss Flournoy as well, and Miss Evans, Mr. Burton, Miss Roberts. It was all those great teachers that allowed Miss Simone Brown. These great teachers that exposed the youth to the greatness that's within our culture.
Right.
And I was talking to somebody the other day. I was like, man, back in the day, we went on field trips to Valley Forge, and we went to the King Center and went all these different places, but we had a lot of exposure. And I think just celebrating Black History Month, and shout out to, oh my gosh, I'm gonna tag it, but I'm loving this brand right here. But
so that's another brand that you bought.
Another brand, man. Man, it's amazing.
You support local businesses.
Yeah. And I hate that I can't think of the name right now. But shout out to the brand creator.
They know who did that shirt.
I'm gonna tag him exactly on YouTube. But I wanted to kind of go through and actually talk about someone who was a trailblazer in her early years. Of course, as you know, we work in the healthcare field,
right?
And being working in the healthcare field, you have to have a servant leader's heart. That means you're out to service individuals. Mm-hmm. And one young lady who was the first African American nurse her name was Mary Eliza Mahoney, Mary Eliza Mahoney. Mm-hmm. And she was the first Black nurse that graduated from an accredited school, and she fought against discrimination and everything, and she became a nurse. And so she paved the way for so many RNs, so many LPNs, so many CNAs, so many nurses that are out there actually providing services on today. So we just want to give a big shout out and celebrate Miss Mary Eliza Mahoney. Gotta get her name right, Mahoney as well.
Well, I want to give a fact too. One of the first Black woman female doctors of medicine in the United States was Rebecca Lee Crumpler. And so while we are celebrating these healthcare professionals, sometimes we get all of these inventors, and we get, who made the cotton gin and all the other stuff like that. But sometimes some of these accomplishments of who became the first Black female doctor, who became the first nurse, those are milestones as well, especially in our community. And so we just want to celebrate all our inventors. Maybe give one more, and I'm gonna give one more fact.
Yeah. And so I just want to go through and say, just like you're saying, Black history is American history.
Yes.
And so these are the proud moments where, yes, we're able to go through and actually celebrate in the month of February. We're able to go through and actually go to the mountaintop and shout. But we celebrate this just not in February. This is just an ongoing. We're part of the fabric of America. Mm-hmm. And so I'm just super excited about just sharing the young lady who I said, no, you said you had one more person?
Yeah. So I want to talk about the Ivan Ailey American Dance Theater, which changed the perception of American dance, was founded in 1958. Mm-hmm. And so Ivan Ailey, he's a dancer. He was a choreographer that really revolutionized the whole dance industry, especially for our community. And so I want to give a shout out to Mr. Ivan Ailey. I think in one of our last episodes, I went to was at an opera, and I saw one of his students that actually went into the dance with the Ivan Ailey school. Yeah. And so it was amazing just to see all this full circle. And so, I want to salute Mr. Ivan Ailey. Yeah. Faris, as we talk about Black History Month, I do want to shout out, because we did shout out to Sparta, Hancock County, teaching us the foundations. But I remember a quote they used to teach us. We used to say this in elementary school. I am a proud African-American child. I came from great people who expect great things. I want to be a great thinker and a great listener. I love my hair and my skin and myself from deep within. I love my sisters and my brothers because we both must struggle, and I promise to be the best I can in all I do. I remember that quote all the time, and that's what has embedded me, Faris, into saying I am a proud African-American child, and we come from great people, and so I just salute all of the educators, all of the Miss Gwendolyn Reeves,
Miss Rebecca Heath, Miss Awana Lowe.
We acknowledge you, we salute you, we thank you, because all of that things that we were talking, sometimes we were just talking all this stuff, Faris, and we know it didn't get embedded in us. As a second grade, as a kindergarten, we were taught to learn these sayings or these affirmations, and I did not know how embedded this was in me. And so now I can stand as a 36-year-old African-American male and say I'm a proud African-American child right here.
Wow, that's amazing. That's amazing. Shout out to the educators, the ones that are out there day in and day out. Continue to be encouraged, because what you do matters. The seeds that you are planting, it will grow. Even though sometimes you may like, oh my gosh, this little knucklehead here and there. The seeds that you're planting will actually grow as well, man. But man, I'm super excited, because this really transitions to like what we're talking about today, the 6 ways to empower the people around you. And just like that, you were empowered by a teacher who planted that seed in.
Yes.
She was not afraid to share what was on her heart, share the information about our culture as well. And that's super, super excited, man. Super excited.
Yeah. So let's dive into our 6 ways to empower people. And so the first one is actually sharing information, Faris. I think that, you can't be a holder of information and materials, especially if you want to empower others. So how do you keep something for yourself, but you're trying to empower others? And so that teacher that said, you know what, this is what we're going to learn, and she empowered us to say, you know what, I want you to think differently. Maybe because in Hancock Fair, a lot of individuals there, we are low income individuals. I remember even my mom being a school teacher. I think we still eat free lunch. So it was a low income. The mentality was not as we weren't exposed to a lot of things, and so for her to empower and say, we are great. There's greatness within us, and so sharing information is going to be the number one tool to empower others, whether it's people that you work with or even in your family members, and for me as a student.
I think one thing, Caleb, I see this when it comes to sharing information, looking at it from the business perspective as well, is so important. I think a lot of times when people go into business, a lot of times people climb up the management ladder or the leadership ladder as well. A lot of times people try to hold on to that information. Like if they give it away, it's no more information to receive. And I think that's really a mindset of scarcity.
Oh, wow.
That's a mindset of they're afraid that someone's going to go take my position, which is one of the lower levels of leadership as well. It's more positional. And so I think when it comes to sharing information, it shows that there's more information coming. It's like when you share, it's open hands. That means you can receive more as well. So I think that's one thing as a team member. It's always my heart and always my goal to share information, to go through and empower the team so that they can go through and grow. Because I realize that they are a direct product of the service that I'm actually delivering. So if they grow, that means I grow as well.
Faris, have you always been like that? Like, have you always been open to sharing information?
Always. It's not even in my heart to hoard. It's not in my heart to go through and say this is me, mine, I. I've always had a we type personality. I don't have a scarcity mindset, because I'm like, there's an abundance of resources out there.
That's a good one.
When I look at business, when I look at life, it's just an abundance of resources. So it's not about me keeping all the information, me finding, me just holding down this position. It's like, okay, if I can give this position, I'm the CEO of our large healthcare company. We have over 1,000 team members, Caleb. I'm like, just imagine.
You know, I want to make stand correction. We're gonna, you know, we're gonna
We're
1,200. We're gonna toot out. I wanted us to, because we always say this 1,000. I'm like, you know, Faris, you know, we're up to 1,200 now. So I mean, but I do want to say that because sometimes we don't celebrate ourselves. That's a huge. Extra 200 people to be responsible for is a big deal, and so I do want to say, you know, we are the largest African American or minority-owned home care company in the state of Georgia, but we don't take it lightly. And we're humble guys, but we do want to celebrate that. I think that's a big thing to celebrate.
Hey, you! Do you know or have a disabled child that needs in-home care services? Hello, this is Adrian Cockfield, Gap Coordinator with Prime Care Home Care, and I provide services for the Albany and surrounding county areas. And what I do is provide children with physical disabilities, assisting them throughout the enrollment process. Now, if your child is between the ages of 0 and 20 years old and 11 months and receives Medicaid services, this program is exactly for you. For more information, give me a call at 229-347-7430. That number again is 229-347-7430. Looking to hear from you soon. Thanks.
One thing I see that is one of my plans is not to always be the CEO of this company.
Right.
That allows me to share. So now I can go through and share with the next people that are coming in place, because this mantle will be passed on, and that allows me to grow as well. Because now, if I'm not the CEO, Lord knows God has positioned me for something else as well. Maybe be a chairman, maybe an organizational CEO from different organizations. Right. It's like, these are things where I think the abundance mindset is like, hey, it's more to come. And I'm proud when I can see other people actually receive what they've worked hard for as well.
Exactly. So you have to share the information. Yep. The second goal to empower others is having clear goals and objectives. Ooh, dive in that a little bit, Faris. Clear goals and objectives.
Clear goals and objectives. One thing, we always go back to the Bible, hey, write the vision, make it plain. We always go back to that right there. But when it comes to life, you have to have clear goals on where you're going. Right. And when it comes to empowering people, they need to know clearly where they're going as well. They need to know the goals. They need to know the objectives, how I'm going to get there. Imagine if someone says, hey, I want to be the CEO. And I'm like, you know what? I just say, well, work hard and you'll get there one day. Is that clear? Is there any measurable objectives? No. That's nothing right there. That's just wasting air. Right. So being able to go through and set those clear goals, now you're empowering someone to sit down with that person, to go through and say, okay, like if somebody say, I want to go to college. Oh, well, baby, just do well in school. No, that's not how you get to college. You have to apply. It's an application process. There's an acceptance process. There's an SAT that you have to go through and take. It's a lot of steps along the way. And that's the same thing that we have to do when it comes to our life track. Whether it be someone who want to get married, want to start a business, want to grow in a business, want to go to college, it's all, you have to have clear goals and objectives that must be carried out. You know what? You just said something. Even with the smartest person, you know, having a 4.0 in high school, and if you don't really do the application for college, you ain't going to college. Exactly. That's just plain and simple. And so your goals, I remember, Faris, you know, we have our weekly meetings at for all of our team members every Wednesday between 2 and 3:30. And so we have our weekly meetings, and one of the persons said, I want to be the CEO. Well, Faris, you literally said, okay, well, you need to know how to do this department. Yep. You need to know how to do this department. You need to master HR. You need to master billing. You need to know a jack of all trades. And so not just do it and say, well, I'm going to do it for 1 week. No, you need to spend time and become a master of that. Okay. So you need to know a skill. You just need to not know language about it. Okay. You need to spend 6 months to a year here, 6 months to a year here, 6 months to, and then we haven't even gotten to leadership training. Yep. And Caleb, one thing when it comes to clarity is, I think one thing we learned in our leadership training is who's going to do what, by when, and how will I know it's done. Oh, you always say that. Now that's how when you get crystal clear, you can ask that question. You can ask that question: who's going to do what, by when? That means you can check it. That means there's clear goals along the way. And how will I know it's done? That means you're allowing individuals to let you know how you know certain projects or certain measures are done as well. And I think that's how, if you utilize that concept, clear goals would definitely be along the way as well. Right. The next bullet is definitely teach that it's okay
to make mistakes. And I think that especially as an entrepreneur, I have made several mistakes.
Good.
And I know that I have a great leader say, it's okay, long as we rebound from those mistakes and we learn from it. That's the key to it. You have to learn from those mistakes, that you don't keep on falling into the same mistake over and over and over and over. And so one thing about me, Faris, I definitely give my team that opportunity to make mistakes and to fail. I let them think about it. I ask a lot of questions. Well, tell me why. Why do you feel that way? Well, tell me, how could you have done it differently? And so it's okay to make mistakes. I think sometimes we beat ourselves up, Faris. We say, you know what, well, doggone it, it should have worked this way, and I don't think it's going to work again. And we beat ourselves up. Okay. And it is to a point where then we feel defeated. We don't feel like anything will work out, whatever we put our mind to. But you have to realize just a mistake is just a mistake. And so you have to get yourself back up. You're not going to stay down on the ground, especially when you got breath in your lungs. You want to get back up and you want to keep on moving until you get the outcome that you want.
Man. And I think having a different viewpoint of what a mistake is, a mistake is an opportunity to go through and learn something. A mistake is an opportunity to go through and grow. And I think it's so important to having that as a company culture, having that as a life philosophy, to go through and say, you know what, this is what I'm going to do, because no one's perfect. No. If you expect everything to work out perfectly, you're going to have a long, stressful life, or a short, stressful life at that. But if you realize that you're adapting to, okay, mistakes are okay. And that's one thing I've always told my leaders and my team members, hey, I want you to make mistakes. Not saying I want you to fail or to fail at the point of giving up. I want you to make mistakes, because now I'm going to know where the foundation is at and where we can start growing. If you go through and try to perfect everything, now I don't know where you are. Right. Because everything is on a shallow ground. But now we know the foundation. Making mistakes so we know to start growing from there. And I think that's one thing, is creating, and I think the second part is creating an environment that celebrates both successes and failures. That's the next way to empower individuals. That kind of really buds up with teaching that it's okay to make mistakes, because now we're able to create an environment that really celebrate the successes and also the failures. Saying, you know what, I'm so glad you figured this out. I'm so glad you didn't figure it out in the first try, because now you learned the entire process. So now we have some way to grow as well. Right.
One thing I have done recently, and I told you, is I did a private consultation with all of my team members. And so that private consultation allows me to see what their goals are for the future. And so I have 6 gap care coordinators on my team, as well as 1 registered nurse that oversees my clinical part of it. And so having that private consultation with them, just kind of figuring out what are your goals aligning. And so it allows me to figure out what are their financial goals. It allows me to be transparent, and them to be transparent with me, to say, you know what, well, this is where I'm weak in, this is where I'm strong in, this is where I need more help in, and then allows me to be more accountable to them on those things. And so whenever we have those weekly daily morning huddles, they talk about their success and their failures. And so their failures are not necessarily beaten down. It's more so, okay, well, what did you learn from that? So now you can help reach your goal. And remember your big picture. Your big picture is to do this by the end of the year, or your big picture is to go back to school this time, or your big picture is to buy that car that you said you wanted to get. And so all of those successes and failures, just all of those, that private consultation allows for me to get in the hearts and know the person. And so when something doesn't meet their expectation, or when they fail or make a mistake, it's just an easy get up, remember what you said you want to do, and go after it.
Wow. When you were just talking about this, I thought about, I'm like, systems are managed, people are coached. Ooh. Systems are managed, people are coached. You can manage a system. You can manage a system, a process. You can manage that. But people are coached. And what coaching does, it builds people up. It allows people to go through and realize that the answer is from within.
So empower you.
It does. I thought about Michael Jordan when I thought about the relationship between Michael Jordan and Phil Jackson. Of course, I don't know the full detail, but from the exterior to start looking in, we never saw Phil Jackson go out there and play for Michael Jordan. He never said, you know, Mike, you take a rest, and I'm going to go out there and shoot this ball for you. I'm going to go and run the court. But he was his coach. Michael Jordan was deemed as one of the best basketball players of all time, but he had a coach who saw it from a different perspective, who didn't put him down when he fell. They looked at the play reels and said, you know what, hey, instead of positioning your feet right here, position over here, instead of shooting like this, he was able to see it from a different perspective.
Wow.
to go through and make sure that Michael became the best player of all time as well. So that's one thing, is when it comes to creating an environment that celebrates the successes and the failures, this is where you're called to not just manage people. Not you manage the system, but you lead people, you coach people. And that's the type of environment we have within our organization as well, man.
Yes.
And that's how you empower people. You coach them along the way.
You know, Faris, I really admire you, especially how you're empowering our leaders, because with our weekly company-wide meetings, you're giving everybody the opportunity to come in and lead.
Yes.
You're getting them to lead by example. Also, you're bringing in industry experts that's teaching our team about how to buy a home, how to buy a car.
Yep.
You know, what is a refinance? Yep. You know, about self-care. You know, what is important for your self-care? All of those things.
It empowers them.
It empowers them. And so, and we realize that we know that you as a leader, you just don't look at the numbers. It's not about the numbers. You're really empowering us. You want our personal life as well as our professional life to elevate.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I think, Caleb, that right there goes into the fifth topic of empowering individuals, is support a learning environment. Again, no one wants to be connected. Anybody can have a job. There's plenty of jobs out there. Plenty of jobs. You can go everywhere and apply.
Good jobs, bad
Good
jobs,
bad, everything. But my thing is getting in an environment that you're going to be able to grow. That's one thing, is tapping into the right source, like plugging into the right source, because sometimes you plug into the outlet, you're like, dang, this thing don't work.
Right.
Go to another, that won't work either. Right. But you plug into the right source, what it does is it electrifies your life. It allows you to go through and actually see life from a different perspective, have a whole different meaning as well. In the environment that we created around here, you and I and our teams, we created a learning environment that we want to learn. We want people to grow. If you come in one year, you're the same way next year, that's a problem. That means we didn't do our job. But we want to position you to get around individuals that can teach you how to buy a car, can teach you how to buy a house, can teach you how to go and grow within an organization, because a lot of these skills and tools are not taught early on, but that's our goal, to empower others as well.
Faris, let's just examine, you know, because we have been in business for 15 years.
Yep.
And so let's talk about like our initial onset of the business. Okay. Let's talk about, did we really foster a learning environment, and how has that affected our business? What was the effect of our servicing our members, our revenue or whatever, versus us creating not a learning environment versus us creating a learning environment, and the effects of that? Yeah. Can you decipher that?
I think early on in business, we had a scarcity mindset, not an abundance mindset. Right. We were young entrepreneurs where a lot of lessons that we learned, now we had to go through the process.
Right.
And so going through the process teaches you things along the way that you will use later on. You learn that I shouldn't have said that to this person. So next time when I present the opportunity, I'm going to go through and say it differently. You learn that, okay, well, I shouldn't have did this with the finances, because now next time when I get the finances, I'm going to do it differently. So being able to look at where we were and where we are now, and how we empowered others instead of just empowering ourselves. It used to be back in the day, we would go to conferences, and it's just us. It's just the brothers going to conferences. Right. But now it's like, no, we're bringing teams, because we realize if it's we getting it, if we're getting it, we grow quicker. If it's just you, if it's just me, we can only grow as fast as I can grow. If it's just you, we can grow as fast as you can grow. If it's just us, but now we bring a team across the board, and as a team, we look at it differently. Just imagine the 10x multiplier that we're going to receive. Ooh. That's the part of empowering others, is giving it away.
Yes.
Give it away. You go, because it's going to give them exposure. Right. And then what it's going to do is allow us to go through it. It creates an opportunity for us to grow as leaders as well, because now we realize that everything does not hinge on just my mind. If Faris is long gone, guess what? The business, everything's going to keep on going. And that's what we work hard for.
I like that. And then on a whole nother level, we're empowering for next generational leaders.
Yes. Yes.
And that's one thing that I really admire of you. Like, you have taken that part in our organization where you have put the time and the money and the resources to invest in us as next generational leaders of the company. And you're empowering our executive director. Shout out to our new executive director, Faris. Williams, who came in and just doing a phenomenal job with our organization. And so you're empowering our next generation leaders. And I really like that. I like that. And these are just great tips to empower. And it's you as an entrepreneur, if you're watching this podcast, I would just encourage you to just write down some of those things, because in order for your business to be fruitful, in order for your business to be successful, you really have to be in the mindset of empowering others.
Yeah. And that brings us to our last way to empower is let the team become the hierarchy. A lot of times we're in this pyramid where it's like CEO, this. No, invert that. Invert it to go through and say, okay, no, we're gonna serve. And these are the ones that we serve. We serve, they manage. We serve, they lead. And if we go through and actually empower them to lead at a higher level, we'll be able to serve at a higher level as well. So it's always going through and empowering them to go through and actually lead, man.
I like that. Well, that was a great episode with a conversation with Homecare Guyz about 6 ways to empower people around you. Definitely, if you are on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, definitely share our information, share our podcast, definitely put a like. Write a comment. We want to hear from you. Definitely go on Spotify if you can also, and follow us, Conversation with the Homecare Guyz. We have episodes that come out every Tuesdays and Thursdays. We look forward to hearing from you, and definitely give us some feedback, and also leave a review if you can.
Yes. All right, guys. Well, there you had it. Another great episode. Caleb, it was an amazing episode, guys. I know y'all got so many gems, but we want you to, again, tune in every Tuesday, Thursday. Go through, like, share, subscribe, and we'll see y'all next week.
Peace.